What? I'm working. I'm actually recording right now.
Hello, fans.
So this is the fuel overflow pipe, and this was connected to the overflow in the filler area. I don't know if this was ever connected to this little pipe here, this steel pipe here. This was probably had a small flexible hose portion attached to it, and it fell off over the years. And fell down in here and then probably got thrown away. Anyway, so diesel fuel has been dribbling into this fender well area. So if you don't know, this is a hard plastic line, and I've got it pulled up about that far to work with it. This is not long enough to reach in there and attach to that steel pipe. Even if it was long enough, this is very rigid, and it would be a real hassle trying to fiddle with that. So I have some 1/2-inch fuel grade hose. I'm going to attach this to the filler neck area, and it's going to run out here and come down this way, and I'm going to cut this off a little bit, and I'm going to connect this fuel grade hose to this junction, and I'm going to put this junction in here, but it's pretty tight, so I'm going to use the heat gun and heat that up a little bit so I can slide that in there. So that is the plan. Now you might say, well, why don't you just replace the whole thing with some flexible hose? Okay, this hole in the floor is sheet metal, right? So if you're going to do that, you need to put a grommet there. I suppose you could do it fine. There's also some sheet metal here. I think the reason why they use the hard line, this hard line will not be cut over time through the vibrations. It will not be cut by the sheet metal here and here. I think I see what they were thinking, right? All right, we'll get a little white lithium grease up in there to assist our installation. Well, that's not a tight fit at all. All right, so that took way longer than I thought it would. Okay, so now we have this flexible line riding on this piece of sheet metal here.
Hey, hi.
What? I'm working. I'm actually recording right now. I may include this in the video.
Hello, fans.
All right, so what I'm going to do is take a short piece of heater hose or something, and I'll wrap it around right there to prevent this fuel line from getting cut by that piece of sheet metal right there. Clearly, that's the whole reason why they used a solid plastic line. So let's go ahead and put this. It was like that, right? So that was up in there like that. But it was crap, so we're not going to use it. If it's not Scottish, it's crap. That's a Saturday Night Live joke. Okay, let's move on. So I think what I'm going to do is cut this. I'm going to cut those off about right there and make a junction. I think about right there. All right. So we got a pipe cutter. All right, and we got our junction. We're going to use our heat gun. Try to heat up this solid plastic pipe here so we can insert this junction. Gonna go with low. You gotta get up pretty smart to fool this old man. All right, that is in there, man. That is cool right there. Okay. All right, so now I cut that off about right there. So the only thing we have left to do is I'll take a piece of heater hose and I'll wrap it around right there to protect the hose against rubbing on that sheet metal. And down below the car, this hard plastic line will need a tie wrap to hold it against the framework. But other than that, we're just about ready to put this tank back in the car. I think up next I'm going to go do a general cleaning of this whole trunk area. I'll do some vacuuming and I'll pull out the Superclean and wipe down the inside of the trunk. Just as soon as I get my big butt out of this trunk. All right, we're out here at the mobile paint booth and we've got the tank prepped up just a little bit. Got a couple of areas taped off that I don't want to paint, and I have given it a once over with some 220, just a very, very light scuffing, so the paint will adhere. Today's spray paint of choice is going to be Krylon Color Max Paint Plus Primer. We're going to go with a satin, because after all, when no one can see your fuel tank ever again, satin is the way to go. All right, we'll be back in a minute. All right, we used most of that can. I got 2 coats on her and looking pretty good, I must say. We'll let that dry for a little while, then we'll move it back inside the shop and get it ready to reinstall our tank. It's a shame nobody's going to be able to see it. All right, we've got a brand new WIX made in the USA diesel fuel primary filter, and we have flushed our fuel delivery and return lines with vinegar first and then with alcohol, and I let it drain out the back, and I took my air hose and I flushed everything out from here all the way to the back of the car. So the fuel lines should be good to go. All right, I want to take a closer look at the fuel tank vent valve. It's probably something that you guys have never replaced or probably don't think too much about. This is the valve right here. It has a short little line. It connects to the vent hose that pokes out of the bottom, or actually it pokes out of the top of the fuel tank and snakes its way along the tank and comes out right here. It's clamped into this hose here, goes through this valve. I'll put the part number for this in the video description. And you might ask yourself, fuel tank vent valve, where could that possibly go on a diesel car? Well, let's take a look at it. So which one is that? That's 1, 2, that's a third big line over to the left there, and I've already traced it out so I know where it goes. Here's the diesel line and return, and there's the third big one right there. Where does it go? It snakes around and comes out right there. Guess what that is? It is just open to the air. Yep, open to the air, which is what I suspected all along, but I had not taken the time to trace it out until now. So this vent is a little cracked, so I'm going to replace it at some point, but not as part of this weekend project. I'm just going to put this thing back together and move on, and I'll order this part and install it in a week or so whenever it comes in. So for right now, let's go ahead and get the tank back in the trunk. All right, we got our painted tank placed into the trunk here. And this is going to be rather mundane and, well, quite frankly, somewhat simple. So we're going to position this tank into place, gently positioning our filler nick into the hole on the side of the car there. Once we get it situated, we'll start to bolt it down. All right, with a little bit of gentle persuasion and the help of some plastic to avoid spillage of the remaining diesel fuel in the tank, I had swished a cup of diesel fuel around in the tank to prevent rust and corrosion. And up next, we're going to get our nuts back on the tank right there and fasten it down. And we're also going to put our new seal on here. We'll get our door back in place, and we'll install our 2 new custom-made rubber stops here. This coating here, I'm not going to mess with that for right now. I'm just going to get this car back into service. But I do have a little surprise coming in. I've got a new sticker kit coming in with some various engine compartment stickers and a new diesel filler sticker, so that'll be nice. All right, got the fuel tank all bolted back into place, and we even have the non-functional tilt detection mechanism for the anti-theft system. I'll tell you what I'm going to do though. See that red wire there? That's the connector that was connected to it. I'm just going to leave it off and not worry about it. It's just one more thing to cause problems because there's already one piece of the anti-theft system which is located under the passenger floorboard, which has shorted itself and is completely useless. So I might as well disconnect this as well. All right, tank is fully installed. Let's move on. Now, I bet you guys thought I was going to forget about the fuel sending unit, didn't you? There we go. And we've got a little cover. There we go. All right, we've got our tank tightened down inside the trunk there. That new gasket's pretty tight. Let's see, how did this thing go? It's rainy today, quite humid, and I'm sweating a lot. But that's okay. I'm from this part of the world, so it doesn't bother me a whole lot. What does bother me is not being able to see. I think the British would call this fiddly. Okay, I gotta have a tool. We're gonna give this plastic body trimming crowbar a try. Ha! All right, I would say that looks pretty nice. And let's put our cap back on. Excellent. Up next, we'll get the door back on and get our rubber bump stops installed. All right, I know it doesn't look like much, but it just has to be functional. It doesn't have to be pretty. It looks a fair sight better than the original one. So I have this nice rubber rod, about a 1/2 inch wide, that I bought off of our favorite online retailer. And we're going to use a razor blade, and we're going to make another one of these, and then we'll finish up with our fuel filler cap door installation. All right, we're back in business. I've got our little rubber bumpers installed. Hey, look at that. Don't judge me, okay? It's highly, highly functional. And it just has to sit in there like that. It doesn't have to win any beauty contests, okay? Boom. How easy is that? Boop. All done. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. Let's get the car back in the air and hook up our fuel lines. We've got our strainer, the delivery hose, and the return hose reinstalled. Up next, we're going to put about a gallon of diesel in the tank and fire up the engine and get it running and check for leaks. All right, almost forgot about the vent. Let's get this installed. So this side here was under the car and this side was in the trunk because, hey, it's cleaner. Okay, so that little tip slipping out of the tank will slip into that hole there. The cloth braided hose will connect up through the hole. It will connect into there through this rubber grommet. So I'm going to get that installed real quick, then we'll fire up the engine. All right, let's put some diesel fuel in our 300SD. Maybe. Get in there. What are you waiting on? All right, we'll go with 2 gallons. We'll take it down to the 3 mark right there, and then we'll try to crank the car. All right, now for the fun part. Pump, pump, pump. Not sure how long this is going to take, folks. Hey, look at that. My hand was in the way, sorry. Look at that. Already, we got fuel already. All right, let's see if we can't fire this thing up, and we'll probably have to bleed each one of these to get it to run right. So, to get the air out of the system. Glow plugs. Five seconds. Contact. That, my friends, is how you do that. Actually, I'm pretty astonished. I didn't have to bleed the air out of any of the lines or anything. The system pumped up nicely and fired up within, I don't know, what, 3 or 4 seconds? Absolutely amazing. All right, folks, the only thing left to do now is put the upholstery back in the trunk and get back on the road. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video, like the one where we replace the radiator because this one is starting to leak, this thing's going to blow up any minute, then don't forget to click that little bell down below. You guys take it easy and remember to enjoy driving your classic Mercedes.